Yeah, it's probably about 28 years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that. I'm going to take a stab at that. Yeah, 28 years ago in Barclays, we first met. I was young, fresh-faced, no grey hair. It was Barclays stockbrokers, to be more specific. So they were modernising, in some ways revolutionising their entire technology platform and solutions. But John was in from Pulsion. We're building the new retail trading application.
Yeah.
We had a lot. I guess it was quite exciting times for us.
It was tough, but it was good. Yeah,
it was pretty frenetic. You're just trying to. There was so much rapid growth in the business at the time, but it was actually led by some quite visionary people.
Yeah, I think it was one of the first price improver platforms and one of the first kind of internet trading platforms.
Yeah.
So it was very early on in the kind of internet age of electronic trading. That's quite a big system for quite a big company.
Yeah. In fact, back in the day, this was even pre-internet. If you remember, it was all about the advent of the call centre. There was an explosion in call centre growth, and so initially it was all about telephone trading and through the call centres, and then shortly after that there was the explosion in the advent of the internet and trying to provide kind of internet-based services. But underpinning all that was the kind of core trading application, and John. I think I was doing all the kind of front end development work, and you were by and large doing most of the kind of back end.
I think we did a lot of scalable kind of connections to market makers and just that kind of generic pricing platform really there as well, to be able to do price comparison between market makers. So I think that was reasonably revolutionary at the time, and obviously based on a concept that somebody had within the business at Barclays, but it was a really interesting technical challenge. So it was fun. It was fun, but quite a while ago.
It was. And you were in for quite a few years, right?
Yeah.
So the relationship kind of built grew from there. So, and obviously came away with a great experience, a great impression of John, and I think we probably reconnected just a couple of years ago. Oh, yeah, was that a couple of years ago now? Yeah, probably a couple of years ago now.
Yeah.
It was important for us to find a well-established partner that could scale with us, but provide assured outcomes for us. We wanted good quality delivery. We wanted a team that could scale with us. We wanted a team that had already scaled and had scaled within other parts of the industry, within other sectors within industry as well, and Pulsion were a great match for that. They had the diversity of talent that we were looking for.
Yeah, I think just having different roles within the company means that you've got you can access. It's almost like a menu of different people that you can actually add to the team and remove from the team as and when you need. And I think we've obviously got ISO 27001, ISO 9001. We have really mature, very very mature, software development lifecycle architecture. We're accredited. Yeah. So it kind of makes it. Whilst a lot of people think just building your team yourself for a project or company, whatever, is an easy thing to do. There's a lot of background that, as you're experienced enough, as there's a lot of background.
And it is that skill set. You don't get one person that does all of that. And it's difficult to go out and hire all of those individual types of people who, in each case, also need backup. That's why it makes perfect sense to go with a well-established software development company.
And it's getting more like that, because you don't things like AI, you don't want to just take somebody who's never touched AI and say, well, go go and watch a couple of YouTube videos and you know, work because we're implementing AI. So I mean, I think the fact that we have people with, you know, obviously computer science, software development degrees, but also artificial intelligence degrees, gives that sort of just bedrock of experience.
Yeah, and it's not a transactional relationship. It's the value add of the, you know, how do we as a company kind of leverage the breadth of your experience in building, you know, software solutions for a whole multitude of different types of, you know, clients and industries, as well as the research and development that you invest in. We get the benefit of that, right?
Absolutely.
Because this has very much been a collaboration. You know, we've talked many times talking about various you know, approaches to AI development, for example, and other techniques and approaches to platform development. And I think that's truly value add for us.
And I think it also means that for anybody engaging with a company like ourselves, you've got that lumpy spend where you can spend a bit of money doing a bit of development, and then you can check how that development performs in the market, and then you can do a phase 2 and then a phase 3, and it means that rather than having a kind of flat cost base of just having a team of developers, you can kind of flex your spending as you need to deliver.
And I think we've seen that, and it's worked really well. You know, there's been downtime periods in our delivery roadmap where you guys have kind of ramped down for a month or two and then ramped back up again. And the great thing is we've managed to retain the same kind of team, which has been fantastic. The technology. I think I'll tell you what's not changed. I think you know, ultimately it all still comes down to people. You know, good judgment. You know, it's the technology changes, but the approach to building solutions still remains the same. It still requires that, you know, great judgment by good people. If you assemble the right people with the right ideas and the right experience in the room, you can achieve great things. It's just the tooling changes, under the hood.
Yeah, I mean, obviously what you can do has changed hugely. I mean, obviously you get things like introduction to cloud, mobile, AI, but you're right. It's really just having people who can deliver things. You know, I think it's about delivery, and even in a world of AI and discussions about AI software development and stuff like that, ironically, it's because the industry went from being a kind of waterfall type industry where you're talking about requirements, specs, and then going through you know, design and implementation, testing, etc. And it went to agile. But the latest trend is about spec-driven development, which sounds an awful lot like waterfall with some AI development. You know, so specification. I think the future is certainly the future of software. Talking about past technology going forward in time, the future will be software engineers who can actually engage with clients, determine the needs of the clients, kind of write the requirements and deliver things, whether that's people hand coding code or whether they're using AI agents to help them out with those. That's what's going to
I couldn't agree more. You know, fundamental to software development is trying to figure out what it is you're supposed to be building and what solution you're trying to deliver, driven by the outcomes the clients are trying to achieve. That never changes. Right? You know, Agile was never an excuse not to write requirements. Despite that was the kind of hype, right? You know, fundamentally requirements are the linchpin of software development. That's you know.
And I think the most important language going forward will probably be whatever your native language is, as in this case, English. You know, because it's important. Software specified in English, and sometimes you might be trying to prompt AI agents in English. So you talk about things like offshore development and stuff like that. If you don't have a good grasp of English, it's kind of quite difficult to deliver. So hopefully that's also an advantage you've got being a kind of UK or at least English speaking company.
Yeah, absolutely. The localised, that having that localised opportunity to come here and talk with you guys makes a big difference. Face to face is hugely important. But I think there's also been quite a lot of emphasis on that kind of collaboration between the teams. Yeah, so it's not been. We're going to use that kind of transactional word again. It's not been transactional. It's not about I'm just going to pass you some requirements and then you deliver straight to that. It's been it's been very much more a kind of partnership, collaboration, debate, check and challenge. And I think that's worked really well.
And I think it is like that. It's a professional relationship where kind of like you've got with an accountant or a lawyer or whatever, where you wouldn't just tell them what to do. You tell them what your objective is, and then they would feed back, well, I think you should do this or do that, and you discuss around. And that's how we never see ourselves as a kind of supplier to somebody. We always see ourselves as a partner, because the best outcomes for them and the best outcomes for us are when we partner with folk, because we're really interested in their success, because we know that their success is our success as well.
Absolutely. Yeah. Couldn't say it better myself. I think it'll largely continue in a very similar way. We've proven the cultural fit is great. I think naturally Optifi will, fingers crossed, grow in capacity within the team. But I always believe that Pulsion will be a kind of core part of our kind of capability to deliver the platform and operate the platform. I'm sure some of the dynamics might change as we grow. We acquire more clients. We've got more maybe needs to do parallel development. But I think this relationship, this partnership works, right? So if something works, let's not break it. And it's got us this far. We managed to get our first client within effectively 9 months. That's a success story. We want to ride on that success story, get more clients on board, and I think Pulsion will ultimately be on the journey with us.
Yeah, I mean, I think for me the fact that it's always really interesting being part of a journey with clients as well, because we tend to get involved. We get involved with very mature companies, we get involved with startups, and every place in between. The very fact that we met while Pulsion was doing some work for Barclays means that no matter what size you get to, there's always a project where you maybe don't have enough people to do that project. So we kind of help clients get their products or concepts out of the kind of aircraft hangar and they start to fly. But going forward, if we do a good job, which we will try and do, then people just come back to us. We've had clients who actually have kind of disappeared because they're off doing other things, and quite rightly so. But then they're like, right, we need to go back and do something. We had somebody who we dealt with actually 15 years ago, because we've been obviously going for 30 years, or just over 30 years. They came back like a few months ago there, just for a version 2 of a system that had been working quite happily for however many years, well over a decade it had been working for. And they came back and said, we had our own developers, but those developers have kind of moved on and they knew about the system, so could you guys have a look at it? And it's, that's the sort of thing that just happens with partnerships. So it's just great. One of the great things about, I suppose, working at Pulsion as well is that you get to meet lots of interesting people and you get to build relationships with them. It's like, we talked about AI and stuff like that, but it's the software ultimately delivering systems and actually producing something of value is actually all down to people. So having those relationships is quite good. So I would hope, I think probably both hope, that we get the chance to have those interesting conversations going forward.
I still firmly believe we needed to build the strong foundations. We've done that. We've demonstrated that they are strong. The quality is there. And that is hugely important. I always look at and I mentioned this in another question, another interview about the clients trying to roll their own kind of DIY solutions, and then they find it really, really hard to operate the platform. A lot of people kind of miss the complexity of being able to operate the platform. Yes, it's not just about rushing to the alleged finish line. Yeah. That's not really the finish line, that's the starting line, because that's when you're going to start operating the platform. And the proof of the pudding is in the operating and making sure you can change it safely, you can comply with new regulations, you can leverage advancements in new technology quickly and easily. And underpinning all that are those strong foundations, and that's why I really feel we've made the right kind of partner selection. We've got those kind of strong foundations, so there are no reason to deviate from a well-trodden path. Yeah.